internal security, we are going to have these problems. We come after the crimes have been committed. Lives are lost. What happened in 2018? Maybe the Honourable Minister wasn't in that ministry at that time. He needs to, I think, look in his files or ask his predecessors, do they have a report about the Vijambia of 2018? Because if we don't have a report on that, we are certainly going into the unknown again. And yet, we have over and over again asked. We had this report, honorable colleagues who have just joined this institution. This debate, we had it for almost a week here in the last parliament, and we thought it had ended. Now the ugly head resurfaces. What are we going to do? Even after this, are we not going to have the same problem, right, Honorable Speaker? So, really, my prayer is to the Minister for Security to up his act. To up his act. This is not politicking. You cannot politic with people's lives. Nobody scores a political point here. And why should anybody politic because somebody has died? Why should anybody politic? We are talking about lives of our own people. If we need investment, let us invest in security. Let us invest in intelligence. And this is not even about strategic intelligence and so on. It is about raw information. You know, I'm a son of the former Director General of the National Security Service of this country. I'm a son of security. I know these things. If you don't invest in intelligence, you are wasting time. Even tomorrow, we will come and face the same problem. I thank you, Right Honourable Speaker.
Thank you, Honourable Katundu. It is actually raw data, not information. Next.
Thank you much, Honourable Speaker. My name is Opio Samuel, Cole North. Madam Speaker, as we discuss these matters today, I seek that we do not just look for a drug for the symptoms. We need a cure for the disease. Incidences that we are having. The first is that more than 90% of the victims are male. We've seen patterns before where the victims have been female. We therefore don't just need strategic intelligence. We need strategic interventions on this group of people. The second pattern is that more than 60% of these persons are above 50 years of age. Again, that is indicative, and I would have expected the intelligence to gather these. The third is that all these have taken place. The third is that all these incidences have taken place between 20 hours to 22 hours. And these are times when there is isolated incidences. Do we have phone intelligence to be able to support this? In conclusion, Madam Speaker, I request that for us to exhaustively address these issues, not just for today, but also for tomorrow, we have a select committee to assist in this. Information.
Yeah, thank you, my honorable friend, for granting me information. Madam Right Honorable Speaker, I want to inform you and the House that there is a difference between police and the military, which difference actually speaks towards solving such a problem. Military, or the military people, are trained to counter external forces and to counter collective enemies. Whereas when it comes to individual or isolated cases, such cases are better handled by police. In Uganda, we've militarized the police. So we have to discuss it effectively, whether we've bettered police or we've made it worse. And it's at that point that I interest the House that maybe we get the view of the senior police people on how they would counter such a problem, because it looks more of a police issue than a military issue. Thank you very much.
Madam Speaker, as I was concluding.
Next.
Thank you.
Next to Dr. Pio.
Madam Speaker, as I was concluding.
Dr. Pio, you finished your time.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, this House should know that the people of Masaka who lost their loved ones, who lost their relatives, they are watching us. And they are grieving. They are seeing this parliament taking orders, procedures over the matter that took the lives of their loved ones. Honorable Speaker, you made a wise ruling. And you said, when we stand here, we should look for solutions. The Speaker last week was there saying, if you stand on this floor, you should speak from an informed point of view. I took a drive to Masaka, personally, because I wanted to stand before you and tell you from an informed point of view. The police in the area is incapacitated. They are demoralized. If we are going to act as Ugandans, Madam Speaker, allow me inform the minister that we are having so many Speaker, in my constituency.
Information.
Proceed.
Yes. Honorable Speaker, whereas this debate, I'm by the name Mugole Stephen, Member of Parliament, Kabweri constituency. Whereas this debate is by a partisan, but having to the leader of opposition and eloquently putting like a proposal that we should have a select committee to go and
there was no issue of a select committee. And Stephen, I'm chairing the House. I'll make orders as the Speaker.
So, Madam Speaker, I was making a proposal that we have so many police officers who are guarding private property of the big men in this country. For example, in my area, in Mukono South, a place called Buziranjovu, there is a land belonging to a Muzungu. He's having a whole station with over 15 police officers guarding his land. We have so many of this kind.
Information.
Of that kind in this country.
Honorable Mpaka.
If we can have that personnel.
Honorable Mpaka.
Thank you. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I would also like to add my voice to my honorable colleagues who talked about intelligence. Right Honorable Speaker, you cannot have security effectively do its job without a good intelligence system. In 2019, the GSOs took the government to court over unpaid salaries. Right Honorable Speaker, in the Attorney General's defense, he said there was no evidence that ISO has ever hired the GSOs, therefore automatically dismissing the existence of the GSOs. We very well know that at the district level, one of our key resources for intelligence are the GSOs. Through you, Right Honorable Speaker, I believe it is high time government brought a report to this House on the status of the GSOs in this country. I beg to submit.
Agnes.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, the area of Kavonera has always had issues. When we were doing the investigation on human rights violations, the people in Masaka testified a lot of terror that they underwent during elections. And now the killings are on. Remember, they had happened in 2017, 2018. My submission, I would add on the issue of intelligence. There is something wrong with our intelligence. If up to now we have not, allow me use my time well. Allow me use my time because the speaker will say I've given you my time. Please.
Let him clarify.
Thank you, Honourable Member, for yielding. It's still your time, and I would like you to speak to the very issue you've really hinted on about the committee you chaired that highlighted gross human rights violations. What happened to the record? We've been looking for it in the, on the floor of Parliament. No report was given. At what stage are we? Where did we end with that report? You seem to have the information by yourself and a few members.
Thank you.
Thank you, all right, Honorable, and the Leader of Opposition. You are aware we concluded when those were the reports that we didn't present. I think we can handle that issue from another fora, but for now, it is the issue of massacre.
We can reinstate the report if the report helps this country.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. So, I was submitting that the issue of intelligence really leaves a lot to be desired. I saw yesterday RDCs were transferred. What has the minister done about his intelligence system? The GSOs, the PSOs, the DSO, what is it? If they cannot provide information, what action has been taken? Secondly, Madam Speaker, the recommendations are very good, but at this point in time, I get a little bit uncomfortable with recommendations. Maybe he would have said, we are going to do this. We are requesting for support. We are going to deploy all than the recommendations that we got. And then, lastly, the issue of security right now in Masaka. I think when you go to the mandate, the police is charged with law and order. But now, it has gone beyond the issue of law and order. It's a matter Speaker, for me, I would actually think that curfew needs to be implemented as it is. Where do people with the machetes pass to go and kill people between 8 and 10 or whatever time, when nobody is supposed to move beyond 7 o'clock, Madam Speaker? I thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Actually, when you talk about action-oriented, where you're asking for money, Honorable Angura was saying that we are going into a budgeting time. This is an emergency. We cannot wait for budgeting. We need money provided for this activity, and as we plan for the rest of the country, we cannot wait for the budgeting time. Only that. Honorable Polot.
Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker. Right, Honorable Speaker. Sorry. Well, my name is Paul Simon Peter Kwalinga, for those who may not know me. I'm also called by my people the Guardian. Now, Speaker, the issue that we are discussing relates to human security. Now, in human security, the first line of defense is the people, the person, the human being. That is why a certain gentleman, Che Guevara, said that you must have constant vigilance, constant mobility, and constant suspicion on anything around you, so that you can be able to provide yourself with the required human security. Now, if the first line of defense or security is the people, the population, let us take, for example, security to be like a lake. In a lake, there is water. And in that water, there is aquatic life. In other words, let me take my particular interest of the delicious meal I like, fish. There is fish in the water. Now, let's take water to be the people, and let fish to be the criminals. Listen carefully. This is a very important point.
Honorable Taiwa.
If the fish, Madam Speaker, I request just 20 seconds.
Thank you. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I beg your indulgence.
Members, order in the House.
I beg your indulgence to start from a point of how best we can improve our debate and how best we can have a cohesive House. Right Honorable Speaker, when I meet allow your colleagues to speak, reduce on points, order, procedure, anything that is disruptive. They might not be perfect. We have very many points of order, of procedure, of what to raise, but we believe for the flow of debate, it's always good a few issues to be left. That's why I beg your indulgence, Right Honorable Speaker, and I believe when we
You're raising an order on what? He's raising his issue.
And Right Honorable Speaker, why I'm concerned on this matter, we have colleagues in one session, they raise 10 points of order, 10 points of procedure.
So can you go to your point now? We have understood.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I looked at my colleagues, especially Lope and the Honorable Chivumbi, and the passion, Honorable Joel, and the passion, the empathy on their faces on this matter. It's a really, really touching matter. It's a really touching matter which touches me deeply. And I just wanted to clear only two things. Because, you know, the way we are created is different. When you look at General Muhoozi, I've known him over time. He is like that. General Muhoozi might not be good at sharpening his voice, but he's good at sharpening his brain. He might look as if he's not all that.
Is that a solution for the issues in Masaka?
No, Right Honorable Speaker. I request.
Let's discuss issues.
Right Honorable Speaker, why I'm raising that matter, two things came.
Order, please.
Two things came.
Order.
It's the Speaker who allows order, not you ordering me. So, two things came. One, confidence in the government, and two, saying our officers don't have compassion. That's why
Procedure, Madam Speaker.
And these are people on my side right now.
Procedure, Madam Speaker.
So, I believe it's very important to talk about my colleagues.
Procedure, Madam Speaker.
If you allow. So, Right
Give
Honorable.
us solutions to the security in matter in
Right
Masaka.
Honorable. I have seen these recommendations as a matrix of action on the side of government. Can we interrogate them further? For example, I would propose that the Minister for Internal Affairs meets the political leaders from Greater Masaka so that they can appreciate the situation together, they can move together, because the moment we say people of Greater Masaka have lost confidence in the government, yet it's a government they must be with for the next 5 years, then you're saying they have confidence in who? So if we share this, and as a community, we listen to you, because I haven't seen it among recommendations, Right Honorable Speaker, that the Minister is engaging political leaders from the area. I believe that would be very important. And finally, colleagues, when issues...
Actually, let me make amendment on your prayer.
Yes, Right Honorable.
That the Minister of Internal Affairs and Security go on ground with the leaders of Greater Masaka, not just a meeting in air-conditioned places here. They go on ground and assess the situation.
Thank you for improving on my proposal, Right Honorable Speaker. And finally, Right Honorable Speaker, these colleagues, it's on when we reach at the time of appropriation and we are looking at this sector. I request all of us, we support government proposals on improving the situation of the sector, because the ministry is raising the issue of logistics. The moment we look at that deeply and we look at our security forces as the forces that are coming in protect us, we don't bring in issues of elections, of what happened, I think we shall proceed well. I thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Minister. John, a procedure on what?
On Rule 82, Madam Speaker.
Pardon?
Rule 82, Madam Speaker, on
Yes.
press especially.
Ah.
And yes, I am very uncomfortable here.
You switch
especially
on.
given
Switch on the
because
mic.
one of, it is on. One of the honorable members of this house, out of the dress code, the one sitting near the Honorable Karim, the way she's facing this way, I am wondering how, if, especially the younger members, if I can be like this, what about the younger members? So,
Where is Honorable Karim?
she's here, she's just directly here, Madam Speaker. I want to thank you.
Order. 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 Order.
She's now sitting properly. Can I have...
Order, Madam Speaker.
Can I have the minister? Order on who?
Right, Honorable Speaker. Right, Honorable
You're
Speaker.
raising an order on who? You're raising an order on who? Honorable Minister.
You see, the gentleman is under some spell, because he said the thing is carrying us some natural power. It should be for some.
Right Honorable Speaker, honorable members of this...
Say, go back where you're sitting.
Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, we
We have listened carefully and heard the concerns of members, and they were many, and they spoke with their hearts. I want to commend them for this candid discussion.
Honorable Atkins.
This is an important matter. Voices were raised, understandably so. I want to start with the Honorable Wanika, who noted the discrepancies in the particulars of victims. We shall compare notes, but if you put yourself in my shoes, it's not a very pleasant experience coming here to read the names of victims one after the other. And enjoy it, even if it was one name. It's not a pleasant experience. So I think bottom line, we need to scratch our heads hard and get solutions.
General update.
Enoch talked about
a general update, your list.
Yes, I will.
Working together with the team from Masaka.
Yes, I will.
So that the record in Parliament will be a correct record.
Yes, I will.
Yes.
The Honorable Enoch raised issues of intelligence, and many people amplified that issue. Some gaps in intelligence. We went even into details of strategic, tactical, operational intelligence. I think we need all of them. We need all of them, and it's a matter of, it's intelligence heavy, this matter. We have invested a lot, Right Honorable Speaker and members, in strategic intelligence, those things of cameras and other technical means. And whatever we have, I want to assure you, we have deployed in Masaka. But, like the Honorable Katuntu said, we need to do more at tactical level. Very, very key. Information. And also protection of that information, source protection. There are issues we noted when we went there, and we shall make improvements, Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, to improve the effectiveness of intelligence. Honorable Nanyondo talked about paintings on houses. I didn't see any. If I can get more substantiation from her, we can follow up matter. But for her to allude that maybe it is rogue elements within us, I think she took it too far. We don't have evidence of that one. This far to say that it is security responsible for these. Mobility, fuel, name it. And we are addressing this in the interim, because going forward we are looking at stopping the killings in the immediate term, but also addressing some of the other issues, bigger issues, in the medium and long term. Dr. Tuaha talked about extortion. We shall follow that one. If you may, Honorable Tuaha, provide me with, I don't want to act on mistaken identity. I need proof, and it's fair that you provide me with further details and trust me to follow through, and then we get in touch and see the action taken, especially on the OC of Vunkoni station, who extorted, I think, 3 million, the Honorable Member said, in order to release one of the suspects. Honorable Chiwanuka Mukono, I thought I had put his issue at rest in the committee, but he followed me through here about minding due process. Yes, we shall mind due process. I want to promise you that in this case of those arrested, so that all the legal requirements are complied with. Honorable Sewungu talked about self-help, that people should pick pangas. I think that would be an abdication of duty by government
to say that now you take over. I don't know if Honorable Sewungu has any association with Interahamwe. But we are not yet there. We are not yet there. Yes.
Thank you very much.
Can the Prime Minister, can the Minister first finish?
You know, General is my friend, and
no,
I give him information.
Can General finish?
It's in good faith.
General, can you continue?
No, Speaker, let me give him this information.
Can you continue?
He likes the information.
No, I don't like it.
Okay, I will give it to him outside, Madam Speaker.
Okay, after.
For the good of this problem.
After.
Honorable Sewungu also mentioned the issue of curfew, that it's a constraint, but other members are saying that it's actually a plus. Because if you are not security, what are you doing out there? It would be one of the issues we want to refine our thoughts on. Even if it's a waiver, it should be organized so that we allow out only those people, LCs, that are going to work with security at night. Then Honorable Semuju and Honorable Sewungu again, they were saying that if it wasn't Uganda, response would have been faster and more robust. I want to say that that is incorrect. This matter is not a tribal issue, like many people have said here, the honorable members. This is a national matter of concern, and we've given this area as much attention as we would give any other area. So I would implore members not to tribalize this matter of Ruengo, of Masaka, and the other affected areas. Honorable Sewanyana, is this compensation or compassionate assistance? What is the worth of a human being, even if you are to compensate? I don't think human life can be computed in monetary terms. But what I was thinking is yes.
Yeah, you probably need to clarify as part of the reassurance for the beginning, namely that whichever the name of whatever government would like to extend to the affected families, we have two challenges. One, that the problems are different. We have the sick. On Saturday with Dr. Wanika and Honorable Juliet, we visited families where they are survivors and they were nursing literally septic wounds, and we had to mobilize money to help them to go to hospital. So we have the sick. Two, we have the dead. Three, we have those whose houses are burnt. So what is the timeline? And may you also know the figures to understand the depth of how compassionate government is, and the time, very, very important, the timelines, as part of the assurance.
Honorable Lop, the issue of the timeline and the issue of the amount will be determined by our committee.
So in summary, we shall work on the details of the victims and resubmit to the House. We shall work on logistics. We have already begun where they were inadequate. We've sent in motorcycles, we've sent in vehicles, we've sent in fuel to support the operations. We've reinforced the boots on the ground, and we have also enhanced the intelligence collection aspects of this operation. Trust issues raised by the LOP, I think that is a very overly judgmental statement, and I think government, there are people willing to support government in this matter. Even the community is willing to give information to resolve this problem once and for all. Community policing, yes, it's the way to go. We can't be everywhere. And going forward, as part of the medium term and long term, we want to embark on training some people within the community, vetted by the community, who will work with the vigilante teams to support foundation security. The nomenclature of whether they are SPCs or LDUs doesn't matter, but I think the most important thing is to improve the first level of response at the village level. See what government can work out to give to the concerned families. Due process we shall follow. Self-help has no place in our law enforcement, and I want to say that government is still able to provide security to the people and their property. Lessons learned from this, they are there, including the motivation, but for starters, we want to deal with those responsible for these killings, whatever the motivations, and of course, intelligence and investigations will unearth whatever motivations that drove them to do what they did. So we've done the search, we've deployed all the capabilities available, the technical ones, we've improved logistics, we've done arrests, investigations are going on, and the culprits will be prosecuted. Recommendations, I'm sorry for the way I wrote them, but some of these things are already being undertaken as actions. So in sum, Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, that is what government is doing. Let us work together to resolve this matter once and for all. I thank you.
Minister, can I have the Prime Minister?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, as far as government is concerned, the Minister has said it all. But I want to assure members that the killings that are going on is a security matter. And being a security matter, it is not good that, I'll say that it's not good to politicize it like it has been said before. We need to handle it with a very sensitive, we need to handle it in a sensitive way that should not maybe the people in Masaka put them in a situation that maybe we are just playing with it. I want to say that His Excellency the President, yesterday, he talked about the same issue, and he assured us that some facilitation, some kind of support will be extended to those families that have been affected. And lastly, he was saying that we should not intervene. People should keep that place secure, the scene of crime. People should not go and gather in it, so that we should get the police should be allowed. What is that? I think the evidence, it should be the evidence on that scene. Because if people gather in that place, I think the evidence gets lost.
The scene of crime should be protected.
Yeah, it should be protected. So as the minister is saying that we should work together, the members here, especially the members of parliament, if they kill people that in case there is something, there is somebody who has been killed, let us not allow people to go and gather in such places. We need to protect that place which is the scene of crime. It is very important. I don't have much to say. I'm just assuring members that government is on top of this issue. Government is working hard to see that killings should not continue, and every life matter. So government is working hand in hand with security to see that the killings should be stopped. I thank you.
Thank you, honorable members. Thank you for this debate. After listening attentively from the debate from both sides, we realize that the insecurity in Masaka is a local community organized crime network that must be cracked down. And that can only be cracked down by the locals themselves. We, the leaders of the area, and the locals of the area. And it is us to lead security into those areas, because we know these areas more than security knows them. And this matter can be handled when the political leaders work together with the security. And I'm ordering the political leaders of the Greater Masaka to get back on ground, to work with the security forces, to make sure that we get these criminals. Let's not leave everything in the hands of security. Let's work together with this security, and we shall have one command center and control where all the information that is available will be provided, instead of bringing information to Parliament in piecemeals. So once we decide to work together as leaders of the people and then security, then we'll have this brought to its end. A special budget must be put to this activity. Government, we want a special budget to be put to this activity. We don't want an aspect of where they say there is no fuel in cycles. There is no fuel in vehicles. The Committee of Internal Affairs, Defense and Internal Affairs should work together with the Minister of Internal Affairs, Security and Defense, and go on ground on behalf of this Parliament and find out what is happening and report back to this House on the action taken in 2 weeks' time. And we want actions, not coming with the lamentations. We want actions that have taken place, not having 26 people killed within 26 days. So we need an action that has taken place, and stringent measures. If you, what are you looking for? Sure, there is nobody moving, nobody is coming to your village. If you don't belong to that village, why should you come to that village? We had the same issue in Teso. And that's where we got Arab boys. And the problem was solved. And finally, let's not politicize this issue. Let's be mindful of our voters, of Ugandans outside there. It's not anything that is arranged for a particular area. Let's protect the persons. let's protect people outside there. I wish once more to thank you for that debate. We expect a report from you, but security, you can be giving us a regular report on what is happening. Go to the next item.
Item 3.2, statement by Minister on compensation of victims of the Lord's Resistance Army and the National Resistance Army insurgents in various parts of the country.
Right Honourable Speaker, after wide consultations on the government side, we are requesting that you allow us, we first meet, the Attorney General meets the MPs from the affected areas, so that we first have a meeting of minds and we agree on a very, very clear way forward. So we request for 2 weeks to come back and report to this House after that meeting.
Procedure right,
Attorney General is not around and has requested me.
Procedure right, Honorable Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Atkins.
Right, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Atkins.
Yes, thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and welcome back from Rome. We receive the greetings and blessings from the Pope. Now, Madam Speaker, while you were presiding over the House the other week, you did direct the Deputy Attorney General to amend the this floor, Madam Speaker, and drew the attention of this Parliament to the fact that insurgency and a compensation of victims should not be restricted to LRA. I really support that our fellow citizens up north really deserve the compensation. I really support it, 100%. But also, I thought it was prudent enough, Madam Speaker, to save the time of Parliament, in a sense that every other time we keep just bringing compensations. Why can't we have a consolidated motion that puts into consideration places like Kasese? Because, Madam Speaker, you're aware that I did raise the ADF 2016 went and slaughtered and murdered 10 fellow citizens in Kitoro Sub-County. Crime, they were serving the NRM government. They've never been compensated. Their families have never been compensated. Same ADF went to Kiburara, burned the schools and burned tractors. No compensation.
Honorable Atkins, we've now gone to the substance of the matter.
Now,
the report that Government Chief Whip is saying that the Attorney General is requesting for 2 weeks for him to have a meeting with affected persons, leaders from affected areas, which 2 weeks I'm granting. I've granted the 2 weeks. The Attorney General should come and report. He should have a meeting with the leaders from those affected areas and come and report to this House on the action taken, not on
Item 3, statement by Minister on the merge of ministries, departments, agencies and MDAs.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I beg...
You are raising a procedure on what?
Yes, it's a procedural matter. When I look through the records of this House, especially the Hansard, building up to this motion, it appears to me that there was an issue with the LRA compensation. It appears to me there was also issue with the cattle compensation as a result of the Karemojong insurgency. And when you look at the records critically, Madam Speaker, we have issues of compensations that are arising out of court awards. There was a civil suit number 027 in Soroti. Honorable Cooper and the rest were there. There is also a High Court civil suit arising from Lira, where a court also made pronouncement. The way the motion is worded here will give a leeway for government to come and only address the issue of LRA compensation. And yet the issue of compensation in the north, Lango, Acholi, and Teso also involves the issue of the Karamojong compensation. So the reason why I wanted to beg your indulgence is to guide government so that when they come, they should look at the issue of compensation broadly, but also not restrict ourselves to what is on the other paper about the LRA compensation only. Because if we do that, we are going to miss the point, Madam Speaker.
When you look at the other paper, compensation of victims for LRA, NRA.
Yes, but the basis.
If I can help my colleague, I think
I am Honorable Muruli Mukasa, Minister of Public Service. Right Honorable Speaker, this is my maiden speech.
I think Minister should be taken for inaction.
Therefore, I deserve protection. Yes.
Procedure, Right Honorable Speaker.
Right Honorable
Yes,
Speaker.
Honorable Muruli.
Yes.
Procedure, Right Honorable Speaker.
This being my maiden speech.
Yes, Doctor.
Yes, Madam Speaker, I'm raising on a point of procedure. Without prejudice, I've worked with my senior colleague as a member of the National Negotiating and Consultative Council in the Ministry of Public Service. Right Honorable Speaker, the ministry in question is the custodian of all laws, Employment Act, Workman Compensation, Labor Union Act. There is a negotiating, consultative and dispute settlement machinery. This act, Madam Speaker, the framers of this act intend like mergers are negotiated. Another section 3, there's what we call the consultative committees. Under section 4, there's what we call the National Negotiating and Consultative Council. And the framers also put items.
Procedure matter here. You're on procedure.
I'm on procedure, Madam Speaker.
He's on procedure. Let him, what you do, Doctor.
So, Right Honorable Speaker, the point of procedure is.
Doctor.
Yes, Right Honorable
Minister.
No, it's a procedure issue, Madam Speaker, which can actually result into a lot of legal litigations. And I'm giving some procedure issues so that the matter can be
So you're giving him a procedural matter issue on what? You've not heard from him.
Right Honorable Speaker, the point I'm making, one, is negotiating. The matter was supposed to be subjected to consultation with the labor union, because the merger should be derived from consultations, which is this says the principle.
This opportunity right to congratulate you upon the elevation. Congratulations indeed. Right Honorable Speaker, the House required me to present a progress report on the implementation of the rationalization of government agencies and public expenditure. And that's exactly what I would like to do now. Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable colleagues, Cabinet on the 22nd of February 2021, under Minute 43, took a decision to merge, mainstream, and rationalize government agencies, commissions, authorities, and public expenditure to facilitate efficient and effective service delivery. In order to effectively implement the decision, Cabinet approved an implementation roadmap for the implementation process to be spread over a period of 2 years. That is 21-22 up to 22-23. As of today, we have covered just over 1 month. Right Honorable Speaker, I wish to inform this august House that the main objective of the reform is to eliminate structural and functional duplications, overlaps, wasteful expenditure, and realize resultant short-term and long-term savings in line with the approved implementation roadmap. Implementation of the recommendations of the rationalization of agencies, in short, RAPEX, delivery to align with the new program planning, budgeting, and implementation. Out of 157 government agencies which were reviewed under the rationalization exercise, a decision was taken to merge, to mainstream, and transfer the functions of 77 agencies and 80 to be retained. Since then, 8 of the institutions have been fully privatized, bringing the number of the institutions to be merged, mainstreamed, and transferred to 69. This is clearly attached to the statement. What is the problem and what's the devil which you would like to cure? Right Honorable Speaker, I wish to state that the high growth rate of government agencies in Uganda has continued to create jurisdictional ambiguities, drain the national treasury at the expense of effective service delivery, overstretch the capacity of government to sustain agencies, cause salary disparities between agency employees and the traditional civil servants, leading in some cases to wastage of resources which would otherwise be committed to providing other critical public services, let's say in the sector of health, certification. Others had their mandates overtaken by events, while others were pseudo-government projects which operated in a similar manner as agencies. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues, whereas the 1995 Constitution provides for a definite number of agencies, commissions and authorities, boards, local councils, and other statutory bodies, that a multitude of public agencies were later created by statutes, acts of parliament, and in some cases administrative arrangements. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues, it is against this background that His Excellency the President of the in his letter dated 17th July 2017 raised a number of concerns on the several mushrooming agencies and demanded for clear practical recommendations to rationalize institutions to ensure efficiency of government. Right Honorable Speaker, I wish to report this August House on the main achievements so far with regard to this exercise. One, Cabinet Subcommittee, the Inter-Ministerial Technical Committee, and Secretariat to drive the implementation process have already been constituted, and they are operational, Right Honorable Speaker. Preliminary documents to be used as reference points for the implementation process have already been prepared and approved. For example, the action log plan, the work plan, the stakeholders engagement plan, the communication strategy, the implementation guidelines, the issues log, the change management strategy, and report on the effects of rationalization on local governments. 3, institutional review and reorganization for some institutions without legal impediments has already commenced. The team is fast-tracking the review and the reorganization, for instance, of the Office of the Prime Minister, Ministry of Education and Sports, and 11 agencies under the education and sports sector, the Amnesty Commission, and the Rural Electrification Agency, whose legal framework has, as we talk now, expired. Stakeholder engagement meetings have been undertaken for 68 institutions and 18 sector ministries, and this has been detailed in Annex 2. Now, committee reviews is underway. Right Honorable Speaker, let me report where implementation has commenced. Review of the legal and policy framework for the affected institutions, systems review and business process re-engineering, implementation of approved structures, for the affected institutions, and the development of an administrative reform model for the public service for the next 10 years. Right Honorable Speaker, this is the plan which we have. Phase 1, 21-22, will focus on a comprehensive review of the 18 government ministries and 77 agencies which were affected by the merger, the mainstreaming, and the transfer of functions. This is ongoing. Phase 2, 22-23, will focus on the remaining 6 government offices and ministries and 8 agencies which were recommended for retention but require institutional review and restructuring to enable them adequately respond to the current service delivery demands. Both phases 1 and 2 will be implemented with a view of achieving full implementation of the Cabinet recommendations on the rationalization of the government agencies and public expenditure, creating a lean and efficient structure of government, and undertaking job evaluation at harmonizing pay across the service. Well, this exercise is envisaging challenges and, of course, associated risks. Right Honorable Speaker, I wish to state that there are anticipated challenges and risks to the implementation of this reform. And these include the legal and policy framework within which the affected institutions operate, and the likely implications on the implementation of rationalization. National obligations, international protocols, running contracts, and agreements between government of Uganda and other countries, which may have diplomatic and legal implications. Challenges associated with management and transfer of assets and liabilities of the loss of jobs and redundancies arising out of the implementation of the reform. Right Honourable Speaker, the planned mitigation measures by the implementation team are: 1. The composition of the implementation team is robust enough to include expertise from the human resources management, from the legal, from the labor sectors, for labor laws and relations, institutional reviews, diplomatic relations, defense, finance, and local government, among others, to provide the technical relevant support and advice in these areas. The plan is to appoint affected staff in vacant positions across the service, and also pay gratuities to those who will not get a chance to be fixed anywhere. And the exercise will also focus on harmonizing pay across the service to address the issues of pay disparities. Right Honourable Speaker, Annex 1, as I said, contains all the agencies that are going to be examined in this exercise in the various sectors, in the accountability sector, in the trade and investment, justice, law and order, and the recommendations which Cabinet made. Part of also Annex 1, which is attached to this statement, also has the program of sector engagements, which so far the Secretariat has undertaken. And then the next annex, the last one, details the actual roadmap of how shall move from 2021-22 up to 22-23 and up to the end of the exercise. Right Honourable Speaker and honourable members, I beg to submit.
Thank you, Honourable Minister, for the report. Members, this is a report on rationalization. Yes, Honourable Atkins. It's open for debate.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. My colleague on the other side, welcome back. He's public service minister, and I serve. I'm honored to serve this country as shadow minister for public service. Or, Madam Speaker, I don't know how much time you will give me, but Madam Speaker, what will destroy this country is not an atomic bomb or a ballistic missile somewhere, or
you remove the mask so that the John can hear you.
what?
Honourable Sir is saying remove your mask.
Madam Speaker, I was welcoming back my elder brother, the Honourable Minister for Public Service, and I'm honored to shadow you, my elder brother, but I was making a fundamental point that what will destroy any country, anywhere in the world, is not an atomic bomb or a ballistic missile or a manless drone, it is the inability to pay attention to the quality of a country's human resource system. Madam Speaker, the fundamental ailment this country is facing, and the greatest challenge that this country is being confronted with, is of government, especially the other side, to bring up policies that are not anchored on evidence and research. Madam Speaker, it is only in Uganda where a policy as fundamental as merging institutions comes on the floor of Parliament without a comprehensive study from scholars. Madam Speaker, the institutions that the minister wants to join together and a multidisciplinary. So a country that you have legal professions, you have the scientists that look at generational knowledge, and you have people or scholars or professors. Actually, if this was coming from this government, well, application and utilization. Madam Speaker, we are shadow government. We stand for a leaner government. Madam Speaker, we should be...
Honorable, conclude.
Shadow Minister?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Speaker. If I have to put a summary or aggregate, Madam Speaker, this government will never be forgiven if you allowed this motion to pass. We shall never be forgiven. This motion must be sent back to the drawing board. Our research constituted by eminent scholars of this country be undertaken to guide this House on how to proceed. There is principle and process, Madam Speaker, and this is my last submission. What we're dealing with, if we are to go by what my elder brother has just submitted, will be focusing on a product. Madam Speaker, it is meaningless to focus on a product and ignore the process, because it is the process that determines the product. Madam Speaker, what the minister, or where the minister is taking us, he wants us to focus on the destination, and yet he knows that what determines the destination is the journey.
Shadow Minister, can we...
So my conclusion is, Madam Speaker, and I'm asking colleagues in this House, that it will be, we have to avert or reverse a catastrophe. This motion should be rejected, thrown back to the committee, and I appreciate your support. Get to the drawing board, get feedback from the scholars,
and
then we move. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Abudu. Solo, Hilary.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. It's good to have institutional memory. The last 15 years, government has been coming here year after year creating these institutions. We have been creating them by law. The executive has been coming with bills. We've taken these bills to relevant sectoral committees to debate them, and government has justified their existence. 15 years. We now see government moving away from its policy without to resort to the people it told to create these institutions. Now, the stakeholders, as the minister is saying, are not even in this house. Honorable Minister, what is your justification? We need to go law by law, because you have no discretion to repeal a law without recourse to this house. This is legal common sense. You must come back here and say, on the creation of the Uganda National Road Authority, we were wrong. The justification we did give was not informed by policy consideration, economic consideration, or even common sense. And therefore we ask you, actually, you would say, please forgive us. It's wrong. And when I listen to the Honorable Minister, he thinks these institutions were created is just about public service, about employees. Of course not. We have different ministries creating different statutory institutions, all of them different reasons. The first point of stop should have been this house, consultation with the relevant committees of parliament. Then you can go ahead and consult other stakeholders. Now, Right Honorable Speaker, some of them, they have gone ahead and actually they are closing them, like the rural electrification agents. They have. I take the information.
Thank you, my dear colleague, for giving way. Members, this parliament is under test. Today, as my dear colleague has said, when the cabinet sat and they made their own decisions, before even they think of what to do next, I have a letter here with me from the Honorable Minister of Public Service, writing to the Minister of Science and Technology, Honorable Musenero, on one of the paragraphs says, considering the uncertainty facing the staff of the former Minister of Science and Technology and Innovation, it is important to conclude the structure and submit to Cabinet for discussion. What does that mean? I was formerly employed there. Just today, they may come here to convince us here, and we take whatever they are saying as a golden truth. But this is scramble and partition of ministries and authorities. Whoever thinks is like a god, is lying. As we talk today, the Minister for Science has deployed her guards at the Ministry of Science. There is a pregnant lady by the names of Lydia. She has been beaten by the guards. We have lost 2 staff.
May I regain my floor? Thank you very much.
Now, can we get that information on the pregnant lady?
Okay. The chair has directed that I get that information.
Of a pregnant lady.
Thank you. This is important, and I'm saying this out of, when every time I was sitting here, something was dribbling in my brain. We have lost 2 important people in that ministry. One in the names of Kasada, another in the names of Barnabas. Because of this uncertainty, which the minister, actually I want to thank this minister here, is not part of this. He was writing to the Minister Musenero, telling her what she has caused to the staff of the Ministry of Science, without understanding, without any due diligence of what she's doing. Today, as we talk, I know this ministry was created 5 years back to foster science in this country. Hardly had the ministry gone a few months than the so-called gods in heaven who have managed to reach maybe the power that would be and convinced him or her that the ministry should be closed. According to him, why they were that the critical pillar to transform this nation, like China, like Malaysia, like whoever has done, will be science. And now when you come here, I'm reading, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very
Come
much.
here because of selfish.
Nobody is arm twisting me.
Thank you very much. I've got the information.
Just a clarification, nobody is arm twisting me.
Relevant. We even formed a science and technology committee. And some of you are members of that committee, with even chairpersons. So, just imagine that. Now that committee, by stroke of a pen, it has been rendered useless. Some of you are no longer members of a committee because you have no sector to oversee. You see? So, and you see, let me make my point. If you can, Right Honorable Speaker, just give me a little bit of time, because I need to explain to my colleagues where all this has come from. Right Honorable Speaker, when we went for privatization, we had institutions, for example, like a Uganda Electricity Board. We had Uganda Post and Telecommunications and so on. We sold all the statutory authorities. The Honorable Mululi Mukasa, I wish he can listen to this. We did sell all those statutory institutions, what we used to call parastatals. Government made a very obscene bill in paying back off the former employees of Uganda Board, of Post and Telecommunication, and many others. So, before we come here, I thought the rule said when one person is speaking, everybody should do. Thank you very much, colleagues. You see, the problem is, Right Honorable Speaker, have not made a thorough research. We don't know the bill the public is going to meet because of these mergers. Right Honorable Speaker, what happens? All those employees, I don't know why. I don't know, you are not the speaker. Because of these mergers, Right Honorable Speaker, as I conclude,
right,
the public is going to meet a very huge bill. And Honorable Mululi Mukasa, before you take steps, it is my prayer that give us the cost implication of
Honorable Solo. Information, there's information from the minister.
This flow for some time. I come from Kayunga and Tenjeru North District, and I'm the Minister of State, Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, in charge of planning. Madam Speaker, there's an impression being created here that the government has closed the Ministry of Science and Technology. That's not correct. What is simply being done is to move the ministry under the office of the President. That is what is being done. But the ministry still stays there and has a minister in the names of Dr. Musenero. So the ministry is still there. This was an administrative move. It's not about closing the ministry.
The Minister of Innovation, Technology and Science is now under State House.
No,
Yes.
State House is for the purpose.
The ministry is existent, but moved to State House.
State House for the purpose of managing the finances of the ministry, but under control of the...
Clarification, Honourable Minister.
Because the
clarification, Honourable Minister.
I'm still clarifying.
Let him clarify, no problem. You clarify.
It is being facilitated by the by State House through the office of the State House Comptroller. So in terms of
clarification,
in terms of the vote where money for this ministry is placed, it is under State House.
Members, there was a motion in this house in regard that issue. What members here are talking is the rationalization of other agencies. They are talking about rationalization. He raised an issue of what is happening in innovation, but that will be answered in the debate that will come from budget.
Information, Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker.
Under the means of science and technology.
Response to that.
The employees are going to receive their salaries. Yeah, it was a
Order, Madam Speaker.
And the motion that is before the budget committee is a motion
Madam
to
Speaker.
actually move the money from the vote where we appropriated the money into a new vote, rather at an existing vote.
But the question was very easy. That are all the members, all the employees of that ministry being paid salary?
Order, Madam
Yes
Speaker.
or no?
Yes.
No.
Order.
Information.
They have not yet
Madam
been
Speaker.
paid.
Order, Madam Speaker.
They have not been paid.
Order, Madam Speaker.
Members, cool down your tempers.
Order, Madam Speaker.
Cool down your tempers.
Hey.
Madam Speaker, may I clarify?
The Minister of Science and Technology.
Madam Speaker, may I clarify that following the pronouncement of the President that vote is closed, payment could not be effected by Minister of Finance through that vote until we get a resolution of Parliament. And that is the resolution that we are...
Honorable Minister, when you look at the motion that you laid in this House, that is before the Budget Committee, that further aware that in accordance to Article 113 of the Constitution, His Excellency the President of the Republic of Uganda abolished the Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation. That is in your motion. And it transferred its functions to the Office of President, serviced by State House Controller, under vote 002.
Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker.
Honorable Macho.
Madam Speaker. My grandfather used to see Parliament deliberate when I am admiring to be a member of things that Parliament did by that time was to legalize entities and authorities. Madam Speaker, Uganda has become a benchmarking country. Country from country fighting on the airports, fighting on the airport of Entebbe to come and benchmark how we have successfully managed to maintain best performing entities. The fact the Rural Electrification Agency was one of them. Was one of them. And World Bank, IMF have been fighting to give us money because of their performance. These entities that have created jobs to Uganda make Honorable Gorobi to sit on the bank bench. But Madam Minister, I don't know why is it that when people sit on the bank bench have a different language. He was talking. It's not the language he's talking. In charge of public service. Comes, Madam Speaker. The minister's submission was that some ministries have already moved. Imagine, how do you get a minister of science and technology to put under secretary? Madam Speaker, I want to let the Minister of Public Service know today that this 11th Parliament, we are not a rubber stamp. We are not a rubber stamp. I therefore reject.
Can you conclude?
And you have an answer to your voters why you want to kill jobs. Information.
Information.
Thank you, Honorable Macho. Right, Speaker. Indeed.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
As soon as first wait for him, then you come.
Right, Honorable Speaker. I am so much appreciative of what is happening here. How I wish we were always debating on matters before we act with impulse. I want to liken this to what happened on issue of cutting budgets of agencies, MDAs, by 40% without having a due process of considering impacts. In Ikumi, I want to give information here. There is just a small stretch of a road that moves from the town to Kumi Hospital. It is so dilapidated, it cannot be worked on. And the owner is giving an answer to the effect that because of the budget cut, they cannot do anything until January next year. And somebody lost life because the ambulance could not make it to the hospital. It's rich because of this impulse decision making. So, right Honorable Speaker, certainly.
Inform and give me back. I had just given.
I've informed you.
Madam Speaker,
as soon as you will talk after Solomon.
After Solomon.
Right, Honorable Speaker, I thank you for giving me this opportunity. I'm Geoffrey Kayemba Soro from great after affecting the taxpayers' money. For example, what budget have they made for the compensation of these people that have running contracts? Again, it will be the taxpayers' money being the taxpayers' money. Thank you very much.
Speaker,
thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I want to take this House to Article 92 of the Constitution,
restriction on retrospective legislation, that Parliament shall not pass any law to alter the decision or judgment of any court as between the parties to the decision or judgment. Madam Speaker, with me here, with one of the agencies which want to merge, I have a ruling in the matter of an review by Engineer Charles Lutama versus Attorney General, talking of illegalities of rural electrification agencies, Madam Speaker. And I beg to lay to this Honorable House, this matter is awaiting ruling, but I also have a ruling which was passed on 25th September 2020, challenging the instrument unto which the Honorable Minister of Energy had been operating within the agents of rural electrification, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, merging REA should be subject to court decisions, and if Parliament goes ahead to merge REA, the pending rule useless, and as Parliament, we shall be sabotaging the powers of the judiciary. Madam Speaker, Parliament, in the case of REA, which is also one of the agencies which needs to be merged under the statement of the...
It doesn't need to be merged, it has already been merged.
But now the information we have, Mr. Chair, for Natural Resources, the information we have from the Honorable Minister of Energy, she came to the committee requesting the members of the Committee of Natural Resources to approve, to resolve that rural electrification be merged into the Ministry of Energy.
It's a retrospective application of the law.
The what?
Hmm?
So, Madam Speaker, it means the Honorable Minister for Energy and Minerals has been contradicting herself. The information she brings to the committee is totally different from what she brings before this House.
Honorable Minister?
Yes, ma'am.
Honorable Minister, you need, Madam, we are not taking those documents. You can't learn. You keep them. We shall continue referring to them in the committee and other places. Honorable Hillary.
Thank you very much, Madam.
Honorable Hillary, Government Chief Whip.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I just wanted to give a very small clarification, Right Honorable Speaker. One, that this is just an and you guided earlier that issues to do with REA and the Ministry of Science and Technology, those ones when the report comes from the Budget Committee, then extensively. Number two.
Yes, Aisha.
Madam Speaker, is the Chief Whip in order to come and water down the matter by saying it is simply an update, while they have actually gone ahead to effect it?
You haven't heard what he has said yet. Maybe
they have laid off people already. Is he in order?
First listen to what he says. Then...
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I should go on record here and with the Minister here that no merger of government agencies has been approved by government. Me on this, allow me to finish. Right Honorable Speaker, Cabinet Subcommittee, which is studying the proposals, and this subcommittee is going to report back.
Order, Madam.
Allow me to finish. Get information, Honorable. Allow me get information. Cabinet is going to receive a report from its subcommittee, which report will be discussed by Cabinet, and a final decision made by Cabinet and presented to this House, Right Honourable Speaker. And presented to this House, Right Honourable Speaker.
Clarification.
I felt this information might be helpful, Right Honourable Speaker, so that we inform you that no decision will be taken by government on the merger of these entities whose legal instruments were by an act of parliament. No merger will take place for any without coming back to this House.
Madam Speaker.
I just wanted
Clarification,
that
Madam
to go on
Speaker.
record.
Zijan?
Right Honourable Speaker, thank you.
Aisha?
I just seek for clarification because I feel like the government chief whip is contradicting the author of the information. The Honourable Minister spoke here in his own words and said that government, a decision was made. He's on record for having said a decision was made, and now the Honourable Government Chief Whip is coming to say there has not been a decision made. Is one of the two telling alternative truth for not needing to say lying? Should not say people are lying. The government chief whip is
also get the clarification that Aisha wants to seek. First, get the clarification from Aisha also.
Madam Chair, I am wondering what is the effect of the transfer of a vote from where it is resident to another ministry if it's not a merger. I seek an explanation. Another clarification I seek to know is what informed their decision, which authorities to take. Because if we had been consulted, some of us would advise that you actually take NFA that has finished our forests, you have left it and instead taken other authorities. What has informed the decision to merge some organizations and leave the others?
Clarification?
Clarification from Aogon. Minister, right, you will clarify on all of them.
Right.
You write them, right.
Right, Honourable Speaker, mine specifically goes to my very dear friend and colleague, the government chief whip. Can you kindly clarify clearly to this House as to where, as we speak right now, is operating normally the way they have been doing, so that we are sure that they have not been merged? Thank you.
Clarification.
Clarification. Right, Honourable Speaker.
Thank you, Madam.
Thank you. Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker, for this chance. I would like to get clarification on the practical meaning of rationalization, because we feel it is sugarcoating. The issue is merging and the related challenges. And Right Honourable Speaker, we were not comfortable for the motion to be dropped to the Budget Committee, because the issue also is not only concerning the money and the budget and the shifting the votes, but the issues relating to the chain of command, the issues relating to the staff structure, and currently we are seeing that REA, for example, all the issues we have been complaining about concerning the delayed meters, concerning the delayed wiring of the stands in the communities, is as a result of REA's budgetary vote being frozen. They are telling us that the remaining contracts shall be effected when we accept REA to be merged. And then all these agencies. But Right Honourable Speaker, we are afraid that the cost that government will incur in offsetting the litigation that the different staff from these closed ventures are coming up with is going to be tough. So we need to be vigilant at this. And Right Honourable Speaker, we are also seeing some selfish interests. The public outcry has always been that we have dismantled ministries, we have weakened them. But
Elijah,
information.
Elijah Santa, coming to your side.
I wish the ministers can stop disturbing Honorable Muruli Mukasa such that it gives solicited attention to the submissions of members. Right Honorable Speaker, the Minister...
Thomas, can you extend? You're squeezing the lady.
Can you maintain social distance, Honorable Minister? Right Honorable Speaker, I want the Minister, in your paragraph on page 1, you have stated that you wish to inform this August House that the main objective of the reform is to eliminate overlaps, wasteful expenditure, and realize resultant short-term and long-term savings in line with the approved implementation roadmap. May you inform this House how much you will save by merging. 2, on page 2, 2.2, you said a situation analysis of government agencies in Uganda, a situation analysis of government agencies in Uganda established by some agencies were created without clear justification. Without clear justification. Others had their mandates overtaken by events, while others were pseudo-government projects which operated in a similar manner as agencies. Would you want to apologize to this House and to the country that you formed these agencies without clear justification? And I hope it's not without clear justification that today again you want to come and merge ad hocly without a clear process. You again in 2.3 just state that whereas Uganda, as amended in 205, provides a definite number of agencies, commissions, authorities, boards, local councils, and other statutory bodies, you wish to inform the House that a multitude of public agencies were later created by statutes, acts of parliament, executive orders, and administrative arrangements. Could you list each agency which was formed, those by the acts of parliament, by executive orders, and administrative arrangements? 3.13, you are saying institutional review and reorganization of some institutions without legal impediments has already commenced. May we know this, without legal impediments, that you have commenced. Right Honorable Speaker, in page 3.14, you say stakeholder engagement meetings have been undertaken by 68 institutions and 18 sector ministries, and you attach the next. Why did you leave out Parliament? Parliament is a very key stakeholder. I would have thought you'd have engaged the Parliament. And Madam, I would wish to recommend that, Madam Speaker, at the end of it, this statement should be referred to the Committee of Local Government and Public Service for closer scrutiny, for us to be able to move in a consistent way. Speaker, I was surprised when the Minister of Finance here said they are paying salaries. Madam Speaker, because of the ad hoc way it was done, staff of REA and got salaries to date. Ugandans from the High Coast, I would have really appreciated, Madam Speaker. I know there could be reasons why the ministry, why government wants this, because some of these ministries or agencies, bodies had also ended up operating like procurement entities. Because today, if I looked at UNRWA, because I thought by now UNRWA would have developed a powerful construction industry, road industry. How many engineers? Up to date, the minister here to tell me which single unit has constructed, if he has not only been doing procurement. Because at the end of it, when we passed this law, we thought by the end of it, we would have developed a strong construction industry in the civil works and mechanical works. But nothing of that has happened. I think that's what we needed to address, that have they lived up to the mandate, other than taking it back where you moved out. Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I conclude by asking the leader of government business that when are we merging also the ministries? Because there are so many. Some are done and doing duplicate work. When are we merging the ministries? Minister of Public Service. Thank you.
Hillary.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. The purpose for which we are here is one, to monitor.
Members, 2 minutes.
To monitor government funds. Secondly, is about service delivery. There are entities we want to, when it comes to service delivery, they have been very perfect on ground and serving the common person, like REA. We want to know what has gone wrong, because we need to come up with the merging with the challenges and the risks. We have legal implications. The government has lost a lot of money, care of legal implications in many cases. What costing did you put on this? And another thing, when we talk about unemployment, we're going to put down many people. How many people are going to be affected? And what is this effect on the society? These are some of the...
Santa.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, having a lean and effective structure of government is what we can all desire. But Right Honorable Speaker, how are we going to achieve this? Madam Speaker, most of these agencies were created through Act of Parliament. And Madam Speaker, as far as I can remember and the record can speak for it, when these bills are being brought before Parliament, there is always a justification, which is well stimulated. I'm so surprised by the submission of the minister to say that some of these agencies do not have justifications. Madam Speaker, I request that the Honorable Minister apologizes for this, because, Madam Speaker, we are a house, and if we pass a bill here and is assented to by the President, and then the Minister comes and says that we have passed something without a justification, what does this mean as far as Parliament and this House? Madam Speaker, allow me to talk on the statement of the Minister on page 3, when he says that, allow me report on the areas where implementation has commenced and is on schedule. And he goes ahead to say that the Cabinet has already started work for 1 month and some days. And yet, at the same time, the government chief alluded that Cabinet will not do anything without coming to Parliament. So, Madam Speaker, this raises confusion to me. Which one is which? Who is fooling who? Because according to this statement, Cabinet has already has commenced its work, and without even coming to Parliament. And yet, we are very key stakeholders, and it has legal implications.
We are not being fooled, as you have said.
Madam,
Yes.
Madam Speaker, allow me to...
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker,
Just a
finally,
minute, let her finish.
Yes, let me finish, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I would like the Minister to also help me understand, because as a Parliament, we have been asking for the creation of the Salary Commission. So I would like also to get a clarification on this, whether the Cabinet Subcommittee will now take on the resolution and the recommendations that this Parliament has been asking. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Both representing Ruaba constituency in Rukunjiri district. Madam Speaker, we are here, the Minister has tabled the document. Madam Speaker, this Parliament should not be used for the first time. Madam Speaker, agencies like rural electrification agents, since 1954 up to 2000, we had only 6,000 kilometers of rural connection. Madam Speaker, as I can speak now, for a period of less than 18 years, we can authoritatively say that REIA has moved up to around 48,000 kilometers. My constituency, Madam Speaker, is 500 kilometers from where I'm standing. Madam Speaker, you will find lines of electricity from here up to Rubabo, near the border of Congo. Madam Speaker, the Minister is here. I will allow the information first. Let me finish this. Madam Speaker, the Minister has told us that there is no merger. Madam Speaker, they have already replaced the REIA electrification agents with the REP, Rural Electrification Program. It is, Speaker, as I conclude, Madam Speaker, that this...
The message has been good. Sit.
Madam Speaker.
May I give the information briefly? It's very brief.
You'll speak on your own. There's nobody you're giving information.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Beth Ethonalima from Wakiso District. Madam Speaker, it's really absurd that we get to know from here that several stakeholders have been consulted, yet as parliamentarians, we've never been called for such. I beg, as we move on, we really get involved. That aside, Madam Speaker, I wish to know through you, where does this leave a key agency like URF with its legislation, which was already passed here? Because recall, as parliamentarians, through the URF Act is where we get the Roads Committee, and it's where as MPs get to know fully issues concerning the roads in different districts. So really, I beg through this, we don't support this matter. And finally, Madam Speaker, being in the neighborhood of Wakiso District, we had a project under, that is Chasereka, Nyanja and Bukele project. It was ongoing, and surveys were done in this Mukono municipality. But as I inquired with...
Thank you, Madam. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Right Honorable.
Are you Goret? Right Honorable Speaker, my name is Goret Namuga, the area member of Parliament, Maogola South County. This is my maiden day. I'm the Shadow Minister for Science, Innovation and Technology. Madam Speaker, as you've heard from the Minister, the ministry was abolished. At times I sit and ask myself, now where am I? Sometime back, in the previous, it was... Right Honorable Speaker, we have a motion on reallocation of funds from one vote to another under the Ministry of Science, Innovation and Technology. Right Honorable Speaker, I would like to bring to your attention a few issues under this very ministry.
Correct, we are going to discuss that when that motion comes in the House. That's why we referred it. Specifically
Right
on
Honorable
innovation,
Speaker.
listen, not specifically on innovation and what you're looking at. So for now, we are looking at merger aspect.
I was going to submit on the merger because it's also implied that it was merged. Right, Honorable Speaker, I was looking at where science and technology has been taken. As of now, it is under State House. If we are looking at efficiency and service delivery, is State House the best placement for the Ministry of Science and Innovation and Technology if we are to look at service delivery?
Those are the arguments you should bring in your committee. Aisha, then.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Madam Speaker, it is regrettable that the Honorable Minister chose to update us selectively. He chose not to tell us that there was an earlier court ruling that directed there should be consultations, and those consultations have not been made yet. He chose not to tell us that some of our partners are not comfortable with this merger, and there are letters to that effect. He chose not to tell us that actually, for example, that service delivery has been affected because of this uncertainty. For example, Urea had already secured $400 million to make free connections of electricity to our people. For 2 years, the project has failed to take off because they don't know how to implement it and where it should be implemented. Madam Speaker, I actually do not support the fact that this matter should only go to the public that committee. I prefer, this is an opportunity to ask because many of us, we are saying things are not going. People in my district sat and resolved that UNRWA should not go back to Butambala because of the effect it has, rather UNFA. So I would rather, as I conclude, I would rather we look at the matter holistically, we look at government departments that must be merged and save the ones that have been effective, like Urea, which they want to take away from us, and then submit.
Whichever committee that will handle this will involve all the stakeholders. So it may not be that we subject it to all the committees. We cannot also take it to local government, but whichever we form, we will have to interact with all the committees.
For the record, Madam Speaker, I'm Bokoto Central. Madam Speaker, the Minister acknowledges that they still have legal and policy challenges. They still have national obligations, international protocols. Under his challenges, it surely shows that you're not ready. You still have a lot of challenges with these mergers that are not. I'll give you an example. UEB was disentangled into UEDCL. Today, some people from UEB are not paid. Is one by one, and then we see the way forward. I beg to submit.
We cannot have that committee. Isaiah, Chivombi, Law.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I sit on the Committee of Presidential Affairs. And on this committee, I've been interacting with most of these agencies. And honestly, members, if you look at them critically, some of them have cross-cutting mandate. They do have it.
Otherwise, I have said, most of them, there is a duplication. Agencies that have even sold you politically, that have sold this country, that everybody admires this country because of those agencies. Those are agencies we are saying, Tojikwatako, don't touch. Now, if there are those that we feel, we are not against the merger. We are saying we must make analysis, institution, law by law, agency by agency. Honorable Chivombi.
Right, Honorable Speaker, I thank you. Let me start where, on a common ground. From our standpoint, we believe in a leaner, efficient government across the board from an ideological standpoint. That's the paradigm where we come from. And we believe for quite some time, government agencies and institutions have been growing bigger and bigger and bigger and draining the resources of the country. And therefore there is need, urgent need, to rationalize them. That's not a debatable issue. The question is the methodology. 35 years ago, this country embarked on what they called the barter trade. We went on a few years, the whole thing was bungled. Uganda is not on the run to die next year. But what normally happens is that they create an artificial crisis. Like now, you issue an instrument, haphazardly, ban rare. And all of a sudden you say, hundreds of people are not paid. But this crisis is self-created. As you do as an approach which you've chosen over the years, you must be very careful you don't create artificial crises. And then you come to Parliament as if the house is burning. Two, even if in life, 1 minute, Honorable Speaker, it's one thing for you to give birth to a child, but it's another to take away the life of that child, much as is yours. These ministers are saying, I issued an instrument to create this, therefore I can issue another one to destroy it, as if life belongs to them. Therefore, Parliament this time must make a very standpoint. I enjoy that
information.
Hold on for a minute. I enjoy that Honorable Ugolovi is now the Minister for Planning. We've spent 5 years in the Budget Committee debating these issues. And it's upon now that we have the right people in the right places. Let us, for the first time.
Information.
Actually, the information I wanted to give is what Honorable Chivumbi is talking about is very right. When we were in the Budget Committee, Honorable Ugolovi, remember we disagreed on this. I came with it. And then you did not support that we go into a speedy merger in the Budget Committee. So for us today to say that we're on the run is wrong, much as I agree on the principle of having mergers to utilize the resources of this country effectively. But remember, you disagreed with us. Today you have changed. The time does not change, but people change.
Information. Additional information. Thank you, Honorable colleague, for giving way. The information I would like to give, and I agree with him that the question It turns out a few days that the authority that made that statement had to walk back on their pronouncement and said, actually, the saying that they were retired in public interest has ramifications, and therefore they should be paid, they should be compensated. So I think that...
Up next on UBC, brought to you by...
Keep the lights on. Use Airtel Money to pay for all your Yaka bills conveniently. Open the My Airtel app to buy Yaka units. Airtel Money. Simple, secure, borderless.
Hujambo mtazamaji wa UBC TV, ifuatayo ni taarifa ya habari na tunakutangazia moja kwa moja kutoka studio zetu mjini Kampala. Naitwa Bella Masangano na kwanza kabisa huwapa ndo muktasari wetu wa habari. Maafisa wa magereza 365 wapitishwa leo uwanjani Kololo. Serikali yatoa salamu za rambirambi kwa familia zilizopoteza ndugu kwa mauaji ya Masaka. Timu ya Uganda Cranes yawasili Nairobi kwa mechi ya kufuzu kushiriki kombe la dunia 2022. Rais Yoweri Museveni amewapitisha maafisa wa magereza 365 wenye vyeo mbalimbali katika sherehe iliyofanyika uwanja wa Kololo, Kampala. Katika hotuba yake, Rais Museveni amewataka wawe wajibifu na walinde afya zao ili waweze kutumikia vyema. Naye kamishna mkuu wa magereza nchini Johnson Byabashaija akiwahimiza kuwa na nidhamu katika utekelezaji wa kazi zao.
In the field,
voted the smartest, very organized, very mature.
Of course, with the permission from the Commander-in-Chief.
You are finished. I think it's unfortunate that they have caused the death of these old people, but those groups are finished politically, because once we bring evidence in court and say so and so is the one who sent these young people on marijuana to kill an old man of 80, where will you be? Where will you go? You have nowhere to go. You are finished. Everybody will see that you are, I normally say, pigs. Hawa nguruwe tu. And don't say I'm the one who said it is Jesus. Because the reverend is there. The prisoner's reverend. Because it says in the Bible, Temusanga by'emwendo byammwe mu maaso g'embizi mutarita eruru zanyu ino Runyankore mutarita eruru zanyu omwisho g'empunu. Thou shalt not put your pearls before pigs, because they don't appreciate it. You're killing an old man, an old woman. You are a pig. You are a pig. Nguruwe, embizi. What do we call pigs in Acholi? Huh? Come and tell me, Reverend. No, okay, on the microphone. Look, Acholi, my bear.
Hey, we are look my bear.
Uh-huh.
Opego, pig is called opego.
Opeko.
Hey, opego.
Opego, these are opegos. but actually it's like English. Opego pig is
Serikali imetoa salamu za rambirambi kwa familia za watu ambao ndugu zao waliuliwa kikatili na wauaji ambao wamekuwa wakiendeleza mauaji hayo wilayani Masaka. Waziri wa ICT na muongozo wa taifa Dr. Chris Baryomunsi amearifu waandishi wa habari kwamba serikali inafanya juhudi kuwasaka wauaji hao. CT na mwongozo wa taifa Dr. Chris Baryomunsi ametoa onyo kwa wauaji wanaoendeleza mauaji sehemu za wilayani Masaka. Waziri Baryomunsi anaarifu kwamba serikali kwa ushirikiano na mashirika ya usalama vinafanya juhudi kukomesha mauaji hayo.
I want to sound a warning to whoever thinks that he can use that approach to intimidate Ugandans and cause unrest. That the government is very ready to deal with those people.
Kulingana na waziri huyo, mauaji hayo yanahusishwa na masuala ya kisiasa.
What seems to come out with that they are being used by some people, some politicians, to create fear in the population, because one of the greatest achievements of NRM government has been peace and stability, and they think that if they can hire those goons to kill people and make people restless, maybe it will appear as if the NRM government is failing to protect the population.
Dr. Baryomunsi amewahakikishia wananchi usalama wao na wale waishio kwenye maeneo ambako mauaji hayo yanafanyika sehemu za wilayani Masaka.
I'd like to reassure them that sanity is going to be restored and sanity will prevail. A number of these criminals who have been involved in these murders have already been apprehended.
Waziri Mkuu wa Ufalme wa Buganda maarufu kama Katikiro wa Buganda Charles Peter Mayiga amelaani mauaji ya kikatili ambayo yamekuwa yakifanyika kwenye wilaya zinazounda wilaya ya Masaka. Kutokana na mauaji hayo, Mheshimiwa Mayiga ameyataka mashirika ya usalama kushirikiana katika kukomesha mauaji hayo.
The motive of these criminals is not yet clear, but definitely the crime wave has created panic, real fear actually, within the people in the affected areas. We've been told by security agencies that some of the culprits have been apprehended, they've been arrested. But that doesn't stop us from asking ourselves these questions. How is it possible that the security agencies failed to arrest these people even when they give notice that they are going to attack certain villages? How is that possible?
We talked about your initiatives
in the social area, in the businesses. We talked about the developmental challenges of the country, and I presented briefly the objectives of the government program that is currently endorsed and financially supported by the International Monetary Fund.
The King tells us all the time to initiate programs that are going to be relevant to the ordinary person. And I'm sure they've told you about the programs we do. And it is very nice as an officer of the IMF that you visit us and you get to understand how we operate and how we complement government and how we try in our humble way to improve the lives, especially of the ordinary people. You know, 70% of Ugandans are in the villages, maybe even more than 70%. And the biggest percentage of the population are very young people. So they need to be supported in their daily activities.
Na hivi sasa na kupeleka studio ya matangazo, kisha nitarejea na habari za michezo.
Keep your eyes on the prize, eyes on the prize, eyes on the scheme. You gon' need eyes behind your back. Who you looking at? Who's looking at you? Blinded by love, maybe you need a better view. All eyes on you, all eyes on you. Biggie's eyes on you, Biggie's eyes on you. World's eyes on you, world's eyes on you. So what you gon' do? So what you gon' do?
Readjust your vision for the all-new season of Big Brother Naija, now streaming 24/7 on Showmax. Rated 18. Sign up at showmax.com.
Echa COVID-19 chijja kugwa only if we stay at home, observe physical distancing, wear masks properly, sanitize or wash our hands with soap and water regularly, or get vaccinated now.
Experience 100% 4G speeds across Uganda with the Airtel 4G Pocket Wi-Fi available at 123,000 shillings only. It comes with a backup battery and 15 GB free for 1 month. Visit the nearest Airtel shop, device selling shop or Airtel online shop. www.airtel.co.ug/broadband-discover. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Karibu kutoka studio, na tunaendelea na taarifa ya habari ambapo hivi sasa habari za michezo zinafuata. Baada ya kushiriki vyema katika mashindano ya riadha ya dunia ya watu wenye ulemavu wa kusikia nchini Poland, mwakilishi wa Uganda katika mashindano hayo Jennifer Nyakato amewasili nyumbani. Jennifer alishiriki katika mbio za mita 15,000 na pia katika mbio za mita 800 na kushinda medali ya fedha.
Jennifer Nyakato alirejea nchini Uganda siku ya Jumamosi kutoka Poland, na leo asubuhi alilakiwa rasmi na Baraza Kuu la Michezo nchini. Nyakato aliwakilisha Uganda katika mashindano ya dunia ya riadha ya watu walio na kasoro ya kusikia, ambako alishinda medali ya fedha katika mbio za mita 800. Pia alishiriki katika mbio za mita 15,000 na kumaliza wa 4, ambako alikumbana na changamoto kadhaa. Kaimu katibu mkuu wa Baraza la Michezo nchini David Katende amemsifu Nyakato kwa juhudi zake na pia wale wote waliochangia ufanisi wake huu.
But I request, please, the government to help sponsor us in bigger number
Ushindi wake unamfanya Nyakato kufaulu kuwa miongoni mwa washindi wa medali, ila anasubiria zawadi ya pesa taslimu kutoka kwa Baraza Kuu la Michezo nchini. Atashiriki katika mashindano ya mwaka ujao ya Olimpiki za wale walio na tatizo la kutosikia yatakayofanyika nchini Brazil.
Na timu ya taifa ya soka nchini Uganda Cranes imewasili jijini Nairobi, Kenya, ikijitayarisha kwa mechi ya kufuzu kushiriki kombe la dunia la mwaka 2022 dhidi ya wenyeji wao ambayo ni timu kutoka Kenya.
Timu ya taifa ya soka ya Uganda the Cranes imewasili mjini Nairobi tayari kwa ngwe ijayo wiki hii. Hii ni baada ya kujinoa nchini Uganda na Ethiopia. Timu yenyewe iliwasili usiku wa manane leo na kuonekana iliyojiandaa barabara, kama anavyosema nahodha wa timu hiyo Emma Ukwi. Wakati Uganda ikiwa inacheza dhidi ya Kenya Alhamisi hii, nayo timu ya Rwanda itakuwa ugenini Mali katika mechi ya kundi A. Kwa sasa ni timu za juu katika kila zitafuzu kwa duru ya mwisho ya timu za kusonga mbele. Na kwa muda huo huo, vyama vya soka nchini vimeshirikiana na kampuni ya Jumia kuweza kuuza jezi mpya za Uganda Cranes. Chini ya mpango maalum, mteja anaweza kupata jezi hizi na wataziwasilisha kwao kwa bei nafuu kuliko kununua kutoka katika vituo maalum kama vile jengo la FUFA.
Na hivi sasa, mtazamaji wa UBC TV, na kurejesha tena katika muktasari wa habari. Maafisa wa magereza 365 wapitishwa leo uwanjani Kololo. Serikali yatoa salamu za rambirambi kwa familia zilizopoteza ndugu kwa mauaji Masaka. Timu ya Uganda Cranes yawasili Nairobi kwa mechi ya kufuzu kushiriki kombe la dunia 2022. Na huo ndo mwisho wa taarifa hii ya habari. Asante sana kwa kutizama. Kinachokuijia hivi baadaye ni taarifa ya habari katika lugha ya Kiganda.
Karibuni kwa utabiri wa hala hewa. Mtangazaji naitwa Kutesa Mili. Habala jioni. Tumeendelea kumbali na kuona vipindi vya mvua kunyesha hapa na pale sehemu nyingi ya nchi yetu, na kwa muda saa 3 asubuhi naona kwamba Mbare imefikisa 9.1, Kali imefikisa 3.5. Na imetokea kwa ajili ya sindikizo la chini limekaa hapa ndani la nchi yetu kuliko kuvuta mkanda ya mvua kurudi sehemu za kusini la nchi yetu, pamoja na vipindi vya ziwa la Victoria. Ndio vipindi ya mvua tuko kupata siku hizi hapa na pale, lakini kesho asubuhi tajua kwamba vipindi ya mvua kunyesha kuzunguka ziwa la Victoria inaenda kwa ya rasharasha, lakini sehemu za kaskazini na kwamba mvua inaenda kunyesha sana pamoja na ngurume ndani, lakini sehemu za Lua pamoja na sehemu za kusini za magharibi inakuwa inaendelea mbele na vipindi vya mvua moza na mchanganyiko la mawingu. Baada tunaona kwamba sehemu nyingi ya nchi yetu huenda kuwa na vipindi vya mvua kunyesha pamoja na ngurume ndani. Joto la jioni tajua kufika 26 sehemu za Karamoja. Tunaona kwamba joto imeenda chini kututilalie kwamba lenye bado zimepita, lakini sehemu za Kasese bado joto liko kwa 28 na milima ya Kabale miko kwa 21. Nataka kutoka ndani la nchi yetu kutembelea miji kadhaa duniani na kuelezea kwamba New York, Addis Ababa inakuwa na vipindi vya mvua kunyesha ya lashalasha na joto kufika kwa 23 sehemu za New York, lakini London pamoja na Amsterdam inaenda kuwa na vipindi vya mawingu na joto kufika 20 sehemu za Amsterdam. Asante sana kutazama, nimebaki Kutesa Mili, tuonane kesho.
Getting GoTV was the best decision James has ever made. Finding a good place to watch football was never easy, but it was costly. Until James discovered something big. Now he can finally enjoy the benefits